We on.
All right, I'd like to welcome everybody to the 24th Annual Beast at East Wrestling, presented by the Delaware Wrestling Association in conjunction with the National Wrestling Coaches Association, and sponsored by Silvestri Mushrooms. It's the #1 high school tournament in the country, right across the street, starting this Saturday. Before I get started on this tournament, I'd like to take a look back at this past year and look at what a couple of the past Beast champions did. Let's just start with Miles Martin, freshman from Ohio State, NCAA champion at 174 pounds, up against Bo Nickel, one of the best, #1 ranked kid in the country. Next, let's talk about Kyle Snyder. Kyle Snyder was a 3-time Beast champion. He could have been a 4-time Beast champion if he wanted. Went to the Olympic Training Center. Everybody, when he did that, everybody kind of questioned, why did he go to the Olympic Training Center? Well, we found out this past year why he did what he did. So he was an NCAA champ, knocked off 2-time NCAA champion Nick Grzadowitz from North Carolina State. Goes to become a world champion, the youngest world champion ever, and then becomes the youngest Olympic champ. So that's pretty special. And all in all, there was 20 wrestlers that were All-American in NCAA that came through the Beast. That's 25% of the All-Americans. That's pretty good. So we look at this weekend. Who's going to be the next Olympic champ this weekend? I mean, there's a lot of great names. We've got 115 teams from 16 states, and we've got a kid coming from Canada, John Manning. He wrestled at Blair last year, and he's coming down. So some of the top teams, again, #1 Blair, got #7 Bergen Catholic, Malvern Prep is #8, Bethlehem Catholic's #9, Nazareth, #11th in the country, Elreda is #15, and we got 11 of the top 50 teams in the nation that's going to be here this weekend. Probably 850 wrestlers fighting for a Beast championship. Before I wanted to talk, while I was on the Olympic topic there, I wanted to just give a shout out. We have Rich Estrella with us tonight. Rich is a renowned, world-renowned coach and was the 2008 Olympic coach for USA in Beijing. So, Rich, we're glad you're here, and we're thankful that you're going to be here this weekend. Another note on Rich is he took 4 of our wrestlers to Denmark this past summer. And that was pretty special for those kids. Chase Archangel is one of those wrestlers, and I think that was a great experience. And Rich is looking to do that again for our Delaware wrestlers next year. So again, Rich, we're thankful that you're here and part of Delaware Wrestling. So we have 850 wrestlers. We got 6 returning Beast champions. Not sure if we're going to have all 6. Eric Hahn from North Allegheny was declared ineligible this past week because of a transfer. And they're appealing it. We don't know what the outcome of that appeal is going to be overruled by Friday. If not, then he will unfortunately not be able to participate here. But they think it's favorable for them that he will be able to wrestle this year for North Allegheny. So we have 6, definitely 5, maybe 6 Beast returning champs. And we have 9 Beast finalists. The second place finishers. So the returning champs: Mike Colaccio from Blair, Patrick Gorey, Sam Sasso, David Carr, and then Eric Hong and Chris Facco. Chris Facco jumped a 1.5 miles. He went from, I think, 132 last year. I think he's wrestling 160 this year. So he jumped up quite a bit in weight classes. So we've got 51 ranked wrestlers from Intermac. That's a pretty good amount. 57 state champions, 38 state finalists. That's a total of 95 wrestlers fighting for 14 spots to be on the top of the Beast podium. Some of the weight classes, just to give you an idea of what we've got, you look at 106, it's always the unknown. You got a lot of freshmen in that weight class. There are a lot of stud freshmen coming in this year, starting with Julian Tagg. You have Julian Tagg from Brecksville, Justin Bearduffel from Don Bosco, and Anthony Clark from Delbarton, all ranked in the nation at 106, and they're all freshmen. 113, you got a pair of national prep finalists, Colaccio and Answorth, that are in that weight class. So you could have a rematch of last year's national prep finals. 120, 10 state champs in the 120-pound weight class. If it's not the deepest, it's definitely one of the deepest. It's going to be a battle for anybody to be on the top of the podium right there. 126, and I'm not going to go through every weight class, but just some of the notables. So 126-pound weight class, you've got PH state champ, Chevro from Northampton. You got a national prep champ, Cannon from Blair. 3-time Louisiana state champ, Shields from Brother Martin. Connecticut state champ, Fields from Danbury. You got 3 Virginia state champs, and along with second place finisher Nick Ramo from Hanover, 126 that's going to be a tough weight class too. 145, you got Sasso, who was a PA state champ, and Griffith, Sasso, I do believe he was second in the state in Pennsylvania, and Griffith, who was state champion. They should have met last year in the finals, but Griffith got hurt last year here, so that could be a great, if they make it to the finals, that'd be a great matchup. 160, another tough weight class. This is where we have Chris Facco from Bergen Catholic, returning beast champ. You have, if Eric Kahn comes down, you got a national prep champ, Marola from Blair. You got a New Jersey state champ, Cochran from Paramus, along with Delaware state champs Brooks and Batista in that weight class. We're hoping that Delaware's going to have some guys on the podium this year. We'll talk about that in a second. Now here's the weight class I like, 195 pounds. This is a tough weight class, but I think the 2 guys that we have in there for Delaware representing us both have a good chance to be on the podium, high on the podium. So Joe Miller, Tony Wiest, best of luck to you this weekend. I was going to roll the mat out here earlier and see if you guys wanted to roll around a little bit, but you got Brandon Kwai from DePaul, John Borst from Sherendo, who's had a tremendous, he's really worked hard this last year, and I think he just won, he's a Virginia state champ and just won Super 32, and I think he's on a mission. So then you have PA state champ Jake Woodley from North Allegheny, but our Delaware guys are going to be right in that mix. So then we got 11 state champs from Delaware, 10 from last year and 1 from 2 years ago. Tony got hurt last year, as we all know. Tony got hurt last year. But we got Anthony Caruso, Cameron Hayes, Greg Baum, Donnie Immediato, Chase Arcangelo, Andrew Brooks, Brandon Batista, Cody Lawson, Larson Wilson, Joe Miller, and Tony Wiest. And not just those guys, you have some other guys. I think Keith Medley could be up at the top of the podium. And I'm drawing a blank here. Where's Kenny Carell, your nephew? Robbie Rosser. So Robbie was 1 match away from placing last year, if I'm not mistaken. So he could do some damage too. So and then we have 5 state runner-ups that all could make a difference. So this year we're going to do a little something different. We're going to offer, again, everybody knows last year we partnered with the National Wrestling Coaches Association, Mike Moyer. Vic went out to the All-Star match with the National Wrestling Coaches Association this year, and talking with Mike Moyer and Bruce Baumgartner, they recommended that we do challenge matches. And when they came back and said that to me, I thought they were crazy. I got enough to do this weekend and worry about challenge matches. But the more I thought about it, and talking with some of the staff, Tommy Abbott, you were a key in this, the more that I thought it was a great idea. We cater, not that we cater, but a tournament of this nature, the elite wrestler is going to get his 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 matches. Some of the wrestlers who may be beginners, or you could be a tough wrestler. It's a tough tournament. You could go 0-2, you go 1-2, you go 2-2. For those guys, the National Wrestling Coaches is making a big push to encourage wrestling for all levels, not just the elite. So a challenge match would offer some of these kids that are coming to the Beast. You might be traveling from a distance, or you could be in the state of Delaware. It doesn't matter. If you go 0-2, 1-2, 2-2, or whatever you may go, if you're not wrestling on Sunday, you're going to have the opportunity to wrestle on Sunday through a challenge match. So we're really excited about that. Mike and Vic, we appreciate you guys recommending that to us, and Tommy for kind of pushing me in that direction. I'd like to take this time right now and introduce Mike Moyer. He's the executive director of the National Wrestling Coaches Association. The Delaware Wrestling Alliance and the Beast of the East can't be proud enough to be partners with you guys and what you have to offer and lend to us. We are very passionate about wrestling. That's why we do what we do, and that's why you do what you do. And to be a part of it with us, that's special. So Mike is going to talk about some of the possibilities of what we're going to do. Next year is our 25th anniversary, and talk about some of the possibilities that we've got planned for next year. And also, Mike is a key component behind the feasibility study that the University of Delaware is doing right now in order to bring college wrestling back to the University of Delaware. So, Mike, if you don't mind coming up, just say a few words.
Well, thank you very much for that. Let me just say on behalf of the NWCA Board of Directors and our president, Coach Tom Ryan at Ohio State, we just want to extend a heartfelt thanks to the Delaware Wrestling Alliance for your tireless efforts to keep wrestling strong and make it even stronger in this mid-Atlantic region, and specifically here at Delaware. The model that you guys have created here just needs to be replicated in every community across the country. I mean, it's an extraordinary model, and I'm not sure that I've seen this model anywhere else. What do I mean by that? Well, it's my understanding the Delaware Wrestling Alliance has, through the proceeds of the Beast of the East, has generated over $800,000 in net proceeds over the years that have been allocated in the form of scholarships, many to deserving high school wrestlers in Delaware that want to pursue their academic and their athletic dreams at the college level. Unfortunately, currently we don't have an intercollegiate wrestling program in Delaware. We're working on that, but I mean, just unbelievable, speaks to the efforts of the DWA to afford an opportunity for many wrestlers to go to college. By the way, the statistics say that across all 3 NCAA divisions, wrestling has the largest percentage of first-generation college-bound students of any NCAA sport. So that scholarship money that you're allocating, I have no doubt is enabling many students to go to college that would never otherwise have a chance. So, at the top of the list would be that. I've also been amazed at how you've been able to fully engage your state legislature and educate them on how wrestling supports the greater educational mission of elementary and middle and high school and college. And it's something we need to be doing around the country. The way you've leveraged the corporate dollars, the Delaware corporate dollars, and the influence of the state legislature to make a run at bringing an intercollegiate wrestling program back at University of Delaware is certainly a recipe that we want to replicate in other geographic regions around the country. And then this premier Beast of the East Classic that you've nurtured and developed and helped it become what it is today, no doubt inspires many others in communities around the country to follow your lead. I guess the best way I can say it is the Delaware Wrestling Alliance is just a really special group, with the best interest of our sport at heart. And just like you've said in creating these challenge matches, the NWCA doesn't necessarily have all the answers for some of our sports challenges, but we're great to have great business minds like this group working alongside of us to try to solve some of these challenges. It's an honor and a privilege to be able to partner with the DWA and work together on accomplishing our very similar missions that our organizations have. You had mentioned that next year is the 25th anniversary of the Beast of the East, and we're working to try to build some ancillary events around the Beast of the East, one of which is I was talking to Tom Ryan at Ohio State, who is very interested in seeing if we can build some high-profile college matches around this event. And I also talked to Dr. Mark McLaughlin. Dr. McLaughlin is a brain surgeon, a brain and spine surgeon, wrestled at William & Mary. And he runs one of the Beat the Streets programs up in Trenton. And for those of you that might not be familiar with the Beat the Streets, the idea originated in New York City, but it's designed to get inner city underprivileged kids into our sport. And the idea is to see if we can go to like Trenton and Camden and Philadelphia and Baltimore and some of the other cities regionally and see if we can get Beat the Streets teams to come and participate as part of this. I know the DWA is all about community, and it's all about building a strong base into our sport. And these Beat the Streets programs really stand to grow participation in our sport across the country. And again, the leadership role you've taken in trying to take that concept a step further is greatly appreciated. The other area that we're really excited to be able to work with the DWA on, as you mentioned, is this Blue Ribbon Task Force. You know, many of you probably are aware that between 1972 and 1999, we lost over 500 intercollegiate wrestling programs across the country. And it's not just a wrestling thing. You know, men's gymnastics has 15 intercollegiate teams left before it's extinct. And other sports like track and swimming have suffered losses as well. And I'm thrilled to say that since 2001, the NWCA has helped to bring back 160 of these college wrestling programs. And where we've had the greatest success is at the Division II, Division III, NAIA, junior college, and women's divisions, because those institutions tend to be more enrollment driven. Wrestling is very attractive because it has a huge high school participation base. It's the 7th most popular high school boys sport, and it has one of the most limited number of college opportunities. So these schools are adding, we've been adding new programs between 15 and 25 a year in recent history. But where it's far more challenging is to do it at the Division I level because it's so much more expensive. And to be able to work with the DWA, and we've now had our second task force meeting last night. You know, there'll be nothing easy about doing this, but we are so lucky to have an organization like yours to work side by side with, and there's a lot more work to be done, but there won't be a rock unturned before this is over. And we're looking very forward to more dialogue and doing everything we can to get the first intercollegiate wrestling program back in the state of Delaware. So, in closing, I just want to say that you know, we'd like to thank the Delaware Wrestling Alliance, the participating teams, the coaches, the army of volunteers that the DWA has to employ to put a magnificent event like this on, the sponsors, the advertisers, the entire wrestling community for including the NWCA in your efforts to keep wrestling strong and vibrant in this Mid-Atlantic region. Thank you.
Again, Mike, thank you very much. So let's talk about the social media. We're on Twitter. It's at Beast Wrestling 7. We're on Facebook. We have Flow. Tonight, I want to thank Calvin Hudson Productions for filming this for us, and we have Track Wrestling streaming this live for us also. So thank you for being here. This weekend we'll be with Flow Pro. Will be here all weekend, live streaming all the mats from 8:30 in the morning Saturday until we're done on Sunday afternoon. We can't do this with just ourselves. It takes a lot of, as Mike said, it takes a lot of the volunteers, and countless and endless amounts of volunteers, and then the sponsors. We have, and I'll get to our title sponsor, who is Silvestri Mushrooms. We'll talk about Donna Silvestri in a minute. But there's so many others that support us in a huge way. ATI, athletic trainers, Dr. Michael Axe, Dr. Joseph Strait, and Dr. Jeremy Axe from First Aid Orthopedics. They give up their time. They have, Dr. Axe has been here for all 24 events, 23, he'll be here for the 24th. He's given up his time all weekend. He'll be here from 8:30 again, he'll be here until the end. We have a new good sponsor this year, ThoroughWorks. It's a body cleansing product. Brandywine Graphics, JMVA Jewelers, Marketing Special Promotions, Milwaukee Tools, Resolite Mats, Senator Nicole Poore, and we'll give another shout out to Senator Poore in a minute. East Coast Electric, Tanita Scales, Carrata Brothers, Milwaukee Tools, Brewer Outlet, Wawa Cirillo Brothers. Again, we can't do it without we can't raise the money to give the scholarships without all these title sponsors. Parlaying that right into our scholarships, as Mike mentioned, it's over $800,000 in 23 years. The total number that we've given out is $834,000 in 23 years in Delaware here. That's, again, testament to all the hard work. Vic, you started it years ago. A testament to all the hard work, the board of directors of the Delaware Wrestling Alliance, right on down to all the volunteers. Anybody who wants tickets, you can go on the Beast Wrestling website and click on the tickets, and the inventory will be more than happy to sell you tickets, as many as you want. Get them before Friday, because Saturday they cost double. They're not double, but they cost more. Triple. So get them now. I'm gonna go down a list of thank yous, and I don't know that I can get everybody. I'll get everybody that I can, and if I miss you, I apologize now. Donna Silvestri, she's the executive director. She's the title sponsor, and she also sponsors a hospitality suite, which is second to none in any event that you've ever been to. Tom Basso, Jody Wilson, Bob Shaw, Ann Vittori, Ron Evie, Vic Leonard, Ed Jambier, Tom Abbott, Joe Arcangelo, John Groom, Warren Peterson, Bill Poor, Christine Wallace, Andy Gillen, Dan Zier, Buddy Lloyd, Clay Lloyd, Keith Mumford, Shelby Hanlon, Kenny Carell, Kelly Rodriguez, Rodney and Darlene Granger, Joe Silvestri, Joey Silvestri, and Melinda Watkins. And I cannot stress enough that the University of Delaware Club team and the support they give us. Now that's just the Beast Committee. There's hundreds of volunteers that will be there this weekend. I can't name them all, so I'm not going to try. I want to thank the wrestling coaches and the wrestlers that are here tonight. I want to wish them all the best success this weekend. We talked about the state legislator for the state of Delaware. We are very fortunate to have a strong legislation that does support us, and that starts with Senator Nicole Poor. She is one of our biggest promoters and is behind us 100%. It doesn't hurt that her son Luke wrestles too, so that's a big bonus. Title sponsor, Silvestri Mushroom. Everybody in this room knows Donald Silvestri and what she does for Delaware Wrestling, what she does for the Delaware Wrestling Alliance. She's executive director, and what she does for the Beast of the East as our title sponsor and a hospitality sponsor. We cannot do it without her. She's usually there all weekend. Unfortunately, she had an event at her farm, and she will need to be there this weekend with that. She will be there on Friday to greet any of the coaches that come, but she won't be there with a big old smile to greet everybody else. And we'll definitely miss her this weekend and wish her well, but we can't do it without her. So with that being said, if anybody has any questions, we hope to see everybody this weekend down at the Beast of the East. Anybody have any questions? Last year you had questions and you stumped me, so Jody.
Steve, what's toughest weight class?
Boy. So again, 120 has 10 state champs in it. That doesn't get that much tougher than that. 182, 195, they're probably right there. 106 is tough because it's an unknown. You have some of the freshmen in there that are stud freshmen, and then you got some kids that are coming back that are going to challenge them. So I tell you, so last year somebody asked me for 3 guys to look out for. You're not going to ask me this year, but I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you 3 names. I'm going to throw 3 names out there that I think they are really going to make a difference. Robert Howard at 113. He's a freshman coming in at 113 from Bergen Catholic. Last year we overlooked, not that we overlooked, his credentials weren't we didn't have the information. But Chris Facco was unranked in this tournament and took first. And I don't know that's ever happened before. Robert Howard, he's not going unnoticed. He's ranked number 2 in the country, but he's somebody that could be on the podium. Now Gabriel Tagg will have something to say about that too. But I tell you, I'm shouting out for Chris Facco to repeat at 160. I know it's a tough weight class. I know he's jumped up a couple weight classes, but I don't know that he wrestled in the state tournament last year. I think he's hungry. I think he's coming back this year with a vengeance. He wrestled down at Super 32 at this weight. I think he took 4th or 5th at Super 32. I think he's somebody that weight class should be keeping an eye on. At 195, John Borst, another one. I mentioned him earlier. He's another one that I think is hungry to be on the Beast podium. So I think anybody that's in that weight class, you keep your eye on him, and if you're going up against him, just be ready to battle. That's all I could say. So, Joe.
Steve, teams that the process of getting in the Beast, and they're not here, but what's the process to get in?
Okay, so what we do, so the application process opens up January 15th. Anybody who's interested in applying for the Beast will apply online through the Beast Wrestling website. Jody will get the information, send them back a confirmation that they got it. We will receive applications up until April 1st. We don't do anything with those applications until April 1st, other than I organize them. And then April 1st, the committee gets together, the selection committee gets together, and over the first couple days of April, we select the teams. And we try to go with, there's so many factors that we look at. We can only take anywhere from 50 to 55 full teams, and then we take 50 to 55 partial teams. This year we've got maybe 60 partial teams and 55 full. So we look at strength of schedule, you know, the strength of the wrestlers, and that's what we want to be the toughest tournament in the country, and we want the toughest kids here. So that's the credentials. I talked to somebody today, they asked me if they could get in this weekend. No. But they asked me what the process was for next year, and I explained the same thing. He says, well, I'd like my whole team to come. I said, well, you might want to put in for a partial. Because full teams, I only take about 2 or 3, not me, we only take about 2 or 3 new full teams every year. But partials we'll really look hard at, and we have 20, I think, Kenny, I think you put it to 12 or 13 that just have one wrestler here.
Excuse me?
The list you gave me today, did they have just where you sent it to me earlier, where you itemized how many were in each? How many teams had one wrestler? 12 or 20?
Something like that.
Something like that. So I mean, there's teams that come with just one wrestler, just because that kid's worth it, and they want him to get that exposure of the college coaches that are here, and get that exposure. So that's it.
Steve, I know you elaborated on the scholarships that the DWA gives out through the proceeds. Can you elaborate on some of the other things we do throughout the whole year for the Delaware wrestling community?
That's a good point. So the Delaware Wrestling Alliance there's so many things. They support Delaware wrestling. Our mission statement is to support Delaware wrestling at all ages, at all levels throughout the entire state. And we do. We work from anywhere from the kindergarten who's wrestling, and we support the University of Delaware club wrestling team. We put on and I don't have the list in front of me, so forgive me if I don't get everything, but we put on the awards banquet for the wrestlers at the end of the year. We put on we host the Hall of Fame. We support summer wrestling, probably do 10 events during the summer for the wrestlers. So again, it doesn't ever stop. We do it all year long to support the Delaware wrestling. So. And that's like we talked about. Chase went to Denmark. We supported Chase and the other 3 that went. It helped financially help them a little bit. So we'll do that again next year, Rich. That's a great event, great thing you do for them. So, Kenny.
Why Resolite again instead of Tiffin?
Next question. Resolite made us a deal we couldn't. They made us an offer we couldn't refuse.
Good. Good.
So, yes.
Any opportunity to maybe incorporate a girls division?
That's a very good question. So I think it's something women's wrestling is up and coming. It's not as much on the East Coast yet, but why not promote it? So we're all in favor of anything that's going to enhance the sport and the programs. We're in favor of that, Mike. So if it's something that we want to look at and talk about,
Can
let's
you tell us what the
incorporate that.
numbers are, Mike? I know you have them on the tip of your brain.
So there are, it's a very little brain, but there are 13,400 young women now wrestling in high schools across the country. There's state championships in 7 states. Hawaii, Alaska, Washington, Oregon, California, Texas, and Tennessee, and 31 intercollegiate women's teams. We're in the process of applying for NCAA emerging sports status.
Well, Mike, as you mentioned earlier, with the feasibility study that's being done across the street with the University of Delaware, that is an option for them if they're considering to bring back wrestling, that it may be a men's and women's program that might happen. So,
Steve, if I could just piggyback on that, if going into the 25th, is there a possibility that we could possibly have a women's division going into the 25th? And the next question to that is whether or not the top Ohio teams, is there a possibility that they might be coming back?
Yeah, Mike Moyer has been working, Vic has been working. Again, we said Vic went out to the All-Star Classic in an effort to talk to some of these. Bill Poor has been in touch with St. Ed's. Bill Poor's been out with St. Ed's, training with them. They are very interested. They have some restrictions with travel, but I think for the 25th, we're going to try to hope that they can work out those restrictions. And, you know, we're just trying to get them back for a one-time big bang. So if we get, you know, the St. Paris Graham, St. Ed's, Wyoming Seminary, you know, some of those, and I know they're looking at some Florida teams that are really tough right now, some California teams that are really tough right now, and possibly some of the New York teams. So it's been in the works over the last 6 months, and it'll continue to work, and we'll see. Hopefully they can get on. We'd love to see them get on board. And there's actually if I'm not mistaken, we are next year. There's going to be a Vic, between the three tournaments.
Oh.
Between Ironman and Beast. And
Oh, yes, it's an idea, we just formalized it with Ironman, the Powerade, and the Beast, and it'll be sponsored by the NWCA, it'll be the
If you
Triple Crown.
win all three, you'll get a
Triple Crown winner, a
championship,
nice belt.
Triple Crown belt.
And the team will get a nice trophy
Yeah.
for winning all three if they do, it's pretty tough. So that's something new we're going to try to start next year with the NWCA.
Yeah.
So we got the okay from the tournament director of Ironman and Powerade, so they're all on board with it, so.
Yeah, so, but we've been working and talking with those teams, and we're hoping they'll come back. Bob?
Let me just back up a track and comment on the Resolute deal, okay? Because the Beast has had a 22 year relationship with Resolute and Paul Gilbert, who's a tremendous company. And we ran into a problem financially dealing with them last year, and that was the reason we left, because it was a burden, financial burden on Resolute to get they donate the mats every year, never charge us a dime. And for him to physically get them down here was a financial burden on him at the time. And that's why we looked into other alternatives last year in Tiffin. And we worked out a deal this year. We're actually going up and picking up the mats. I had a friend went up and picked them up, brought them down for us, and we got another person taking them back. So eliminated that financial strain that we were under. And Resolute is the king of mats. They are the NWCA mat people. They're just great people, and we never wanted to see them go, and it came down to a financial deal. So just clearing it up. And Paul Gilbert, the owner, is a great guy.
That's a good point, Bob.
Absolutely.
Good point. So, Tommy?
Typically, how many college coaches do we come this tournament?
You know, it kind of dwindles every year. Mike's in charge of getting the college recruiting here, so how many are coming, Mike?
They'll all be here.
They'll be here. You know, we've had up to 75 college coaches over the past couple of years. That's dwindled. I think last year we had 45, if I'm not mistaken. But with the online access that they have, you know, they're trying to cut back on their expenses. So they're sitting home watching the tournament and able to get all the information they need. It's still not the same as coming, but it has kind of dwindled. So this year I think right now we have 20, but that's always the case. We never know until the day of the tournament how many actually come. So, Vic?
One other thing we're trying to get together for next year, I don't know if we can do that or not, but it's called the Breakfast of Champions. We want to have our former Beast to East champions who went on to be NCAA champions coming back and having a breakfast of signing for kids and so forth, posters, and hopefully we'll make that happen. I've already got commitments from 4 of
Okay, so if there's any Beast champion out there and you're able to make it back to the 25th anniversary, they're going to honor you with a Breakfast of Champions next year. So just, if you need the information, our information's on the website. Just hit us up and send us an email. We'll be more than happy to talk with you.
And we'll try to get Wheaties to sponsor it.
Okay.
A good plan.
Any other questions? All righty. I thank everybody for coming. We'll see you this weekend.